You guys, this past weekend, Anthony Joshua KO'd Francis Ngannou. He made him look like an absolute amateur in the boxing world. But that wasn't the biggest news of the weekend out of him. The biggest news was that it looks like he's converted to Islam. He went to a mosque, he was praying, he made some videos saying that Islam brings him peace. And there's even photos and videos of him praying in a mosque. So does this mean he's converted to Islam? I think it does, or at least he's en route to doing so. And I wanted to make this video just about how the fact that so many huge and great fighters are converting to Islam or are part of the Islamic faith.
But if it doesn't, at least
I want to bring out what's behind that and why I think a lot of the best fighters in the world and the best competitors in the world are choosing this way of life over any other way of life. And I think it all boils down to lifestyle, right? If you look at Khabib Nurmagomedov, if you look at Islam Makhachev, if you look at some of the top guys, the most dangerous guys in every single division inside the UFC, they are all of the Muslim faith. Shavkat Rakhmonov, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev, Mosavar Evolov, Muhammad Mokaev, Omar Nurmagomedov, every single one of them, up and coming or a champion. They're the one guy in each division that nobody else wants to fight. Why? Because they don't have time for anything else. They don't have time to ball out. They don't have time to go to clubs. They don't have time for drinking and partying and promiscuity and all of these things that land professional athletes in trouble and take them away from being the best versions of themselves. They don't have time for any of that nonsense. And so I think what's happening is a lot of people, a lot of fighters especially, are seeing this level of discipline and this way of life, and they're seeing the Muslim fighters achieving everything that they wanted to achieve, and then they start to go ahead and investigate what's behind this faith. And Islam forbids things like alcohol. It forbids sleeping around. It forces you to get married. All these different tenets. And then you go ahead and you see these fighters saying, well, actually, this makes a ton of sense, and it's going to help me be the best version of myself. It's going to help me be the best fighter possible. And we have other UFC fighters who have followed suit, right? We had, not too long ago, Kevin Lee. He converted to Islam. We saw Manel Kape not too long ago convert to Islam. We saw the boxer Gervonta Davis accept Islam recently. And recently, it looks like Anthony Joshua. And even before that, we have people like Andrew Tate and so on. All of these ex-fighters are looking and accepting Islam. Royce Gracie, just last week, took his Shahada. We are seeing some of the best athletes and the best fighters in the world continuously come to Islam because it's a way that it gives you strength. It does, right? It's one of the, I like to say this is one of the last refuges in the world where men can actually be men, where there's nothing wrong with being strong, where there's nothing wrong with being powerful, there's nothing wrong with being fit, and all of that. I think Anthony Joshua sees that. He's an excellent boxer, an excellent athlete in and of his own right, but he sees for him to be the absolute best he can be, right? He needs to rid himself of all the distractions that are out there, right? If he's ever going to go ahead and beat Tyson Fury, the reigning defending heavyweight champion of the world, he's going to need every edge possible, right? And I think he sees, and a lot of these other athletes see, the way to do this is to take all the distractions out of their life. All the hookups, all the drinking, all the partying, all the clubbing. Train a lot, train a lot, train a lot. Train and worship, train and worship. That's what we see. That's what we see from Team Khabib, right? That's all there is to these guys. They train and they worship, and they train and they worship. And they're some of the best to have ever done it as a crew, right? You could almost expect that if there's someone from that Team Khabib crew, from that Dagestani crew, that they're going to come out on top because of how much discipline goes into their training and their daily lives. And I think a lot of fighters, what they see is they see this level of discipline, they see this level of strength, and they want to know what's behind it, right? They want to know how they can replicate it. They want to know how they can implement this level of strength and discipline in their lives. And they see that the answer to that question is for them to come to Islam, to eliminate all the distractions that are taking them away from what their ultimate goal is, which is to be the best in the world in their craft.
Oh, nice.
If you've made it this far, if you can hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, it helps with the YouTube algorithm, helps me grow the channel. But what do you guys think? Do you think that this is, self-serving in a sense, that they're trying to convert to Islam because it'll make them their best? Do you think there's something more spiritual behind it? Do you think, and more than one thing can be true at once, right? The initial intention of people could have been, like Anthony and Joshua, could have been like, oh, I feel peaceful with this, but I also see this as a way for me to become the best boxer I can be, right? Gervonta Davis, it could have been a similar situation. I want to be the best boxer I can be, but I also see that this is the faith that makes sense, and this is the way, this is my way to be the best version of myself, right? So I think that's something that we're seeing, right? I think that's something that is happening, where we're seeing so many fighters having the intention to be the best version of themselves, to be world champions, and the way to do that is to be as disciplined as you can possibly be. And the only faith out there that really and truly gives you that level of discipline, from what I've seen, is Islam. The entire day is around the 5 daily prayers, right?
Yeah.
The entire day is structured around that. If you look at everything that group, for Team Khabib group does, right? It's all structured around the 5 daily prayers. None of them fight during Ramadan, right? It's all about worship. But when those times are up, they're working so hard, and they're staying away from all the stuff that brings athletes down. Look at all the athletes out there who are dealing with substance abuse issues, like Conor McGregor, right? A lot of people are saying that the guy is, an alcoholic and addicted to coke and all these different things. I don't know whether or not that's true, but you wouldn't see that as part of the Muslim fighter culture. What you would see is, discipline and respect and all of these type of things. So part of the reason that I see a lot of fighters, I think we're going to see even more fighters come to Islam, is number one, they see that there is something there from a spiritual perspective, but number two, it's a way for them to achieve their goals, right? It's a way for them to be the best versions of themselves as a professional boxer, a professional fighter, a professional athlete. Just my 2 cents. Let me know what you guys think.